Hello and welcome to the Passion Show. My name is Phil and joining me as always is my co-host Kyle.
Hello.
And this week we're joined by Jordan.
Hello.
So in today's episode, we're talking about the cinema industry. So Jordan, you've worked in cinemas for how long now?
Coming up to like 5 years now, 4 or 5, I think.
And you also study filmmaking.
Yeah, at MMU.
Yeah. So you're in a similar situation to me and Phil. Me and Phil are both second year film media students,
Yeah.
and we both work in the cinema as well.
Yeah, so I think we're all quite aware of the cinema industry. Like, I was always aware of stuff like box office and, like, I'm really interested in stuff like that. But when did you sort of first become aware of, like, the greater cinema industry?
When people used to call it pictures. I'm not that old, but I remember my dad's going to the pictures, and I thought he went to a room full of pictures. And then when I actually went to the cinema, I was like, oh wow, okay. It's a
That
lot
was probably
better
the
than I
best
thought.
surprise ever.
My early memories of cinema is like the I used to work at.
That was my
Um,
local one as a child.
I remember they used to have big projectors outside that like projected lights into the sky
Mhm.
and like big logos. Like going to cinema was like a big thing. Like it was a big experience. Like you could see it coming and like all right, a child probably experienced it differently to most people, but like going in for the first time, seeing the big standees and seeing things that like you felt like you're entering like another world, and like the film itself was like a whole experience. Whereas like now I think it's a little bit dumbed down a bit
Yeah.
almost.
It's mad how the cinema experience that you had as a kid is the exact same as mine, because I went to the exact same cinema, and like, so they used to have the trailers playing on a projector on like the
Yeah.
roof and stuff like that, and I'd always walk in and I'd be like, oh, what's coming out? And they'd have like, when you walk in, they'd have posters on one side and posters on the other, like opposite, and on one side it'd be the films that are already out, and on the other side it'd be what's coming next, and I'd be like, oh, do you want to go look at them? And it was a really like exciting feeling. But what do you think's like changed now specifically?
Money.
When it's just becoming the
I
driving
think
force.
it's as the industry's kind of progressed, money's the big thing, and like studios are demanding more and more money off cinemas, and a lot of people kind of are against cinemas with the increase of prices and food and stuff. But what people don't understand is that the cinemas get charged to show the films. Like for when Force Awakens came out, as far as I'm aware, I think it was for the first 4 weeks, Disney took 100% of the profits, and then after that it was like a percentage. So like that's the majority of like you think all these people are coming through, but cinema isn't making that much money.
They always say that Odeons and like views and stuff like that don't make money from their ticket sales, do they?
No,
It's all food and drinks and stuff like that and sweets. That's like where the bulk of their money comes from.
Well, I think it's like 170 or £100 to run a screen for every screening, and you got to think like, all right, if you fill a screen, that's great. You're making if you get past the £100 mark, then you're making money.
But if you've got like 3 people in a screen,
Yeah. So you're losing money, and then there's the screens that don't show 'em, like the weekdays when no one
Yeah.
comes in, like
which
they're
is
losing
really
money.
bad for independent movies in that case, because independent movies, not many people are going to go to them.
No, it's sad because I mean the big films that come out, they're the one that draw the crowd in,
Yeah,
but
the big monopoly.
there's no money there really for cinemas.
Endgame,
End-
Force
oh, yeah.
Awakens.
Yeah.
Endgame's kind of like the big one at the minute, but we'll come back round to it in a sec.
Yeah.
Because first I wanna, because you're saying about how cinema used to be like a big thing and people would go see like every film, but now it's not. It's only like the big films like Avengers. Do you think that sort of coincides with the rise of like streaming and stuff like that, like Netflix and
Yeah,
Amazon
because
Prime?
there's more. If you sign up for Netflix or something like that, there's so much variety there, and you're only paying $7.99. But like cinema prices nowadays, it's over that price to watch one film,
Yeah.
and it's a bit of a gamble going in because you don't know if you're gonna like it or not. Whereas there's so much variety on Netflix. But I think when you pay to see a film in a cinema, you get the experience as well. That's what you're paying for, the whole experience, sitting with loads of people. I mean, sometimes that's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of torn on the subject of streaming because whilst I feel like the cinema is the right way to see a film and there's certain films that I'd need to see in the cinema to see it on the big screen, it is great just having all these films accessible to you so easily. Like, do you think that is a good thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a platform for people who can't get into film. So, like, a lot of like big industries don't want to kind of take the risk on smaller scale films like that, and like just getting into a cinema is difficult enough. You know what I mean? And the
Yeah.
money behind it and things like that, and then not many people are going to see it because they don't want to go out and spend that money if for something they don't know if they're going to like or not. Whereas you put it on Netflix or something like that, it's got that kind of traction. People can watch it. It's there available straight away for people to watch.
Like, 'cause there was that divide, wasn't there, whether streaming is killing the cinema industry, but a lot of filmmakers are moving on to streaming services. Like Alfonso Cuarón, who made Roma, and that was like a Netflix film, wasn't it? And it was going for like Best Picture and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I see. I don't know if it is a better platform or not, because I think the cinema experience is an experience, and that's like you get something out of that. Whereas sitting at home is also quite nice, and like when a new film comes out on Netflix, you can sit with your family, or you can sit with your boyfriend or girlfriend and sit down and watch it, and it's kind of like its own little thing. And then there's more available for you to watch. You can skip through, and there's something for everyone.
It does feel
Whereas-
like, yeah, it does feel like, regardless of whether it's good or bad, it's irreversibly changed now, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah,
it'd
but
be hard to bring it back to that.
people say
cinema of
cinema
old.
is dying. I don't think cinema will die, because I mean that's the majority of the money, because you're not going to get the same money as from a
It's the
streaming
same as
service.
theatre, isn't it? Theatre's been around for thousands of years.
Yeah,
Not
I
thousands.
was thinking about this the other day, but like it did change dramatically. Like,
Yeah.
you know, hundreds of years ago, cinema was the
Dramatically.
thing. Yeah.
But well, as we were saying then, like I brought up Avengers before, but people say the cinema industry's dying, and then Avengers Endgame comes out and makes 2.2 billion in 2 weeks, and you kind of think, well, people still are going to the cinema, aren't they? Like, what do you think of that sort
Well,
of
that's
idea?
it. Statistically, more people are going. Like every year, it increases.
Well, there's more
the number of
people.
but
Yeah, there's more
film,
people on the planet.
I think, yeah, I suppose, but I think it's the films that people see. I think that's the big difference.
It's very
because-
few and far between, isn't it?
Yeah, because back in the day, people would go like every weekend to see a film, but because of the price of the actual film now, it's kind of like, you know, the marketing behind it kind of pushes to these big films, and like the little films don't get shown as much. And I think that's why the numbers are low on the little films. And Endgame's pretty much engulfed any other film that's on this
Yeah.
past month, because, you know, you got to look at the cinemas and say, we could take away this film that's going to take, what, a little bit of money and put an Endgame in there, and then that's going to make so much more money. And it's kind of the obvious thing to do, but, you know, it's sad for these films that don't get seen. And, like, there's a lot of good stories out there that just don't get the recognition they should.
I know in my cinema that I work in, we have 20 screens, and 18 of them were playing Avengers all day. I think the other two were like, there was like a Bollywood or something, so you know what I mean? It's like, there's really like not much other options at the minute for films, and that kind of does limit like the amount of stories you can see. Is that like, is that idea that you just literally seeing less stories one that like gets to you?
Yeah, I think so, because it's like, I remember a film that came out that I've told Kyle about a lot, is Swiss Army Man. And I was looking forward to that for months, and we got the market material for it. And I remember putting it up, being dead excited, and then we just didn't get it
Yeah.
because they didn't think it'd make enough money. And I remember watching it, like, there are some cinemas that show films specifically out there, like Home or
Fact in Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool. And they show films like that. And it's kind of like, you know, it's a nice place to go to watch films like that, but it should be more widely available. And I think there should be days where it's just specifically films that don't get seen, you know what I mean, and give people an option to see these films, maybe even slightly cheaper, so it's more like a viable option. But
Yeah, I know I don't do it much anymore, but I used to go to places like Home and Fact, you know, independent cinemas. Like I went to see Disaster Artist in Home. I went to see You Were Never Really Here by Lynn
Yeah.
Ramsey. I thought that was like a brilliant film. Like I loved it, but it's just got no recognition. Like
that's the sad thing about it. Like, no one's going to see it because they're not going to market it. The big
Yeah.
cinemas won't
Yeah.
market it.
because I think it came out in 2017. You Were Never Really Here. I thought it was like one of the best directed films of that year,
Yeah.
easily. Like I just thought it was gorgeous, and Joaquin Phoenix gave like a brilliant performance, but it was just didn't get anything because it just literally wasn't shown. But if it was shown more to the wider public, it would get more like recognition at stuff like the Oscars and
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that, award shows.
In terms of what you were saying before about the engulfing, I think like Disney are really horrible for that. Like, so in terms of cinema, yeah, of course, like they're monopolizing their releases. Like each month they're bringing out like a different unoriginal movie. So like live action Dumbo, a sequel to a Pixar movie, sequel to Avengers movie, sequel to a Star Wars movie. But
You got Lion
also,
King and Aladdin getting
Yeah.
remade.
but what we haven't addressed is the fact that, so you were saying that streaming services were an outlet for independent creators to express their work, but sooner or later Disney Plus is going to come in and completely
You see
engulf that industry.
That's the scary part, because I've always liked Netflix, and I've always thought I can't wait for it to progress. And I thought they'd buy a cinema chain, and then they can start putting their films in cinemas. But with Disney coming out, I can see they're struggling.
Yeah.
And the problem with Disney is Disney's all their own properties. They've got such a library that they can just keep, like, you've got the Loki TV series, you've got the Monsters Inc. TV series that's coming out to Star Wars, and that will gain money because it's something people know. And, you know, Disney's not going to make something new, because if they've got this, and it's like, this is going to make so much money, or you can do this gamble they're not going to go for it. It's a surefire way to make money, and as a business
Yeah.
perspective, it's the way to go. But Disney have everything now.
Last year they took in 30% of the
Yeah.
cinema market. 30%.
I know, like, for myself, like, my girlfriend pays for Netflix and Now TV, and I pay for Amazon Prime. So when we're looking for a film, we have just, like, free reign. But they're sort of coming into contention now with the Disney streaming service. Like, I know I'm sort of against it, but I'm probably going to get it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the point.
if
It's like
Marvel-
everybody does it.
If
Like,
Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, and all of Fox's stuff now, because they've bought that, are on it, then it just seems more like the logical answer, but it's kind of the wrong one, isn't it?
exactly what we should do. We should like stop consuming Disney content, but that's never gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
none of us are gonna
Well,
stop
that's the problem, because we know it's good.
Yeah.
We know we're going to enjoy it. So it's
You
kind of
bet-
like, it's like a drug.
You better know I'm seeing Avengers Endgame 5
Yeah.
times. You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
But like, and you watch these trailers for, like Dumbo or Aladdin, and they use all like the music to try and like exploit your nostalgia.
We mentioned before that we all work in a cinema. So what do you think about do you think it provides like a different perspective on like the cinema industry, like being like, in there and seeing the amount of audiences that come in?
Yeah, I suppose. I think you see how people consume it, really. Because you get a lot of people who just come in and go for the main, like,
And what types of
Fast
social
and
group?
Furious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's a majority of people coming in for like the main films. No,
Yeah,
you don't.
exactly.
There's not an audience for the other films anymore, unfortunately. I don't think anyway. Because I mean, I've seen so many people come and go, and like when there's a smaller film on, there's just nothing there. But the minute Endgame comes on, like we prepare for it, and like we know how bad Endgame's been this past couple
Yeah,
of weeks.
so
and
busy.
Yeah.
You'd never get that for any other film. I
Because-
mean, all right, they've built up their kind of, that was built up over 10 years, 11
Mhm.
years. So I'll give them the due. But like, I remember, what was the last film? Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
That was my worst film.
A lot of people say that was the worst in
And
my place.
It wasn't that good, but
Yeah.
because people know it and think that's going to be a good film, they just know straight away, or they know they're going to enjoy it. People will go, and that's why they spend the
It's
money.
like what I was saying about nostalgia baiting. Like that's all it is. It's just like
yeah,
manipulation.
Well, it's like
Disney can, but-
Toy Story 4 and The Lion King are going to be the new Beauty and the Beast. They're going to make like $1 billion easily. Like
yeah.
they'll just like be the top
They're
grossing
just
films of the
printing
year.
money.
No, to be fair, as much as people diss Disney, it's as bad as it is. They are giving you the pleasure you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything you want, you're given, but
Yeah.
you don't get anything new.
And it could be someone worse in that position. Like it could be a worse company with worse morals.
It could have been Fox buying Disney. Yeah, so you were talking about indie films before and like they're not being as accessible in like mainstream cinemas. Is there a sort of way to sort of get to those films? Like, would you say independent cinemas are like better
Yeah, I
for
mean,
ya?
like all over the country, there are. I think it's one company that owns them. I'm not too sure, but like there are independent cinemas out there,
Mhm.
and like they're probably the best way to like enjoy it as you would in a cinema. But I suppose apart from that, like you got like streaming services. There are like Mubi, is it? I think there's a couple of like independent streaming services as well. You can find these kind
I
of
know
films. on them.
BFI has one as well, don't they?
Yeah, BFI is like there, but as like again, like no one really knows about them. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
advertisement for them.
I suppose why would you get BFI when you can get like Netflix or something like that, which
Yeah.
is so accessible and has such like a wide range.
I mean, I suppose Netflix does do indie quite well. I mean, like what did I watch recently? Love, Death and Robots. Have you seen that?
No.
That would not be shown anywhere. Like that can't get on television.
Yeah.
Like, visually, it's amazing. It's worth a watch, but it's kind of a place for things like that. And I think indie films fit
Mm.
well on streaming services.
It's not a film, but I've just recently finished Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency,
Yeah.
and it was just the most out there like mental show. It was like Doctor Who on acid or something like that, and it got cancelled unfortunately before a
Yeah.
third season. But I've just been telling everyone about it, and I'm like, just go watch this. It's only 2 seasons, but it's fucking brilliant. And I suppose like Netflix and stuff like that are kind of the only option for really out there content.
Yeah, definitely.
I think like from that, it just shows that there is more to it than the bottom line of money. Like in terms of
Some
like,
people are in it for like the
yeah,
art form, aren't they?
exactly.
And that's why you get a lot of people going to Netflix. It's kind of like their only option now, isn't it?
Yeah, because they allow them to do anything. They say, "There's your money,
Hmm.
do what you want," and I think that's it's evident what they've got. Whereas if you go to Disney and say you want to make something like Dirk Gently, they'll just
Yeah,
laugh at you
Yeah, exactly.
and say,
It's-
"Well, where's Moana? Where's Dumbo? Why aren't they in there?" Because that's just
It kind of feels like we're talking about Netflix as kind of like almost like a savior of independent cinema, isn't it?
but then they just
But
churn out Adam Sandler films
Yeah,
constantly.
but also it's kind of like their last resort, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
these independent filmmakers have nowhere else to go, so Netflix are kind of like snapping them up and like making them their own, aren't they?
I think they need to at this point because
Yeah, yeah.
the minute Disney starts getting in, because people are going to pay for that Disney Plus because, you know, people complain about Netflix not having so much
Enough
stuff. It's
stuff,
because they
yeah.
have stuff for everyone, but it's not loads.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of TV series that come out on Netflix, like,
Even ones you aren't like aware of, like it's constant. Like there's stuff coming out like every day, pretty much.
well, I think Netflix has changed the way people consume TV series, and I think it's
Mhm.
quite a negative thing because people binge watch, and I don't
Yeah.
think that's good because
It's not healthy.
no, definitely not. I mean, like the way people consume television's changed completely now.
Yeah, I was
I know
talking
this is a
about
total
this.
different topic, but
I was talking about this the other day. Well, it's kind of related, isn't it? Because you go into like Netflix and stuff like that, and like the way they release their content. But like, I know I try to tailor my watching.
yeah.
So when I was watching Dirk Gently, it took me like a couple of weeks because I'll watch 2 episodes and then stop and then get back to it. And I did the same with like Daredevil
See
season
that
3.
that's the way to watch it, but people literally watch them all. I mean, I do it myself,
Yeah, yeah.
but then you don't enjoy it the same as I like. I'm watching Game of Thrones at the moment, and I watch it from day one. So I've been watching it over 8 years. So for me, like the big impacts, like the big things that happen in the show now, I've been waiting for a long time. Whereas
It's like Marvel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when something builds up for a long time, it does like pay off, and it is nice to see the longevity of it and how it can.
yeah, it's not
maybe
you kind of
crescendo.
it feels like an experience then. Like
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
experienced the show. Whereas if you just watch it from last week and you've watched it all and there's the ending, that's it. It's gone out your life. You're done with it then, kind of thing. And it's
It makes things feel like a lot more inconsequential, even in
Yeah.
terms of like films. Like when you watch a film on Netflix, it's just passing the time, isn't it? You're not making the effort to go see it.
yeah. That I think that is the problem with watching on Netflix though. Like the fact that you're gonna watch it at home and you're gonna
Mhm.
switch it off and then that's it. Whereas you don't have to, you know, you got your friends and you talk about it after like Endgame. You know, you sat in the credits. Everyone, the people, the true fans are sitting there waiting, and people talk amongst themselves and discuss it. You know, like if you're watching it in the home in your bed in your undies, you're not gonna have the chance to kind of talk about it.
Yeah. It's
So
true.
so let's say we put you in charge, right? You're the master of cinemas right now.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think is like some of the solutions that could go towards like pushing more indie film? Like, do you think it's like the marketing or
Definitely
like that?
marketing because I've been pushing this for the past 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I really annoyed my manager once about this because I used to be in charge of the market and they removed most of the poster frames before I got there. So all them poster frames, if you've been back to
Yeah,
Switch,
yeah.
but now they've got rid of all the poster frames, so there's no
Mhm.
marketing apart from like TV screens that
Yeah,
show
yeah.
films, but they're only shown in the main films. They're not going to
Yeah.
show because we used to get posters in for everything, like every film that was coming out. Like the marketing was just full of them, like
Mhm.
hundreds of posters. And I tried to alternate them as much as I could. Like I had like the big films closer, and like you know I'd move them around a bit.
Yeah.
But I think marketing's that big thing, like standees. You know the big when you go
Yeah.
as a kid and you see a big Transformers standee, you run up to it and you see it and you want to get a picture with it, and your mum like, oh yeah, go on, and then she puts it on Facebook, and then that's how they market the film. That's free marketing, and I think independent films should have stuff like that, and it shouldn't be about the food's marketed more than anything. I think
Yeah.
because
Mm.
that's the money.
Yeah.
I think it should be more focused on the films, and the screens should be done up, and it should be like a full experience for people.
Yeah. I know, speaking of standees, there's a picture of me when I'm like 8 or something when Kung Fu Panda came out, and I'm standing next to a big standee of
You
Poe.
love that movie.
Yeah, I love it. I could do a whole podcast episode on it.
We probably will.
Yeah, and it's just me standing in the same pose as Poe. I'll put it in the description, like I'll put it on my Instagram or something like that so you can see it. But I know what you mean about like when you see like as a kid like the big standees, and it makes you like excited for films. And if there was more, just generally more like film out there, you'd be
It
excited
should
for
be
more
an
projects, wouldn't
experience.
you?
It shouldn't be you go in because at the moment you go in, you pay for your food, you sit down, and you get out. That's it. There should be more to do there. Like I tried to get people dressed up like for what was it, Force Awakens.
Mhm.
I got a guy came in dressed as Kylo Ren for the
Yeah.
opening night, and he was getting pictures with the kids and all that. And then it's a bit more. There's a bit more interactivity. You know.
Because you do enjoy the film more, don't you? Because you feel
Yeah.
more invested.
Yeah, I think you do, and I think you know. I like the little posters that they give out at the moment, the Odeon.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
quite nice, something to take home with you. But there should be more things like that, like more to take in the film, but yeah, more to kind of take away from it as well.
So yeah, I think more than like even just like marketing and stuff like that, it's more of a conscious effort. Like you want people to go to the cinema and enjoy the whole experience, because you know a lot of people go in and they just buy their food, sit there munching on some nachos, and then just leave. Like it's not really experience. So if people can make that conscious effort to enjoy it more and appreciate the experience of going, it can really like help cinema as like an industry, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think you should go, turn your phone off, and then just
Mhm.
immerse yourself in the film.
Yeah. But I think we'll sort of wrap it up there on that note. So thanks to Kyle as always for being my co-host.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you very much to Jordan for
Oh,
coming
thank
on
you.
to talk to us
Thanks
about the
for having
cinema
me.
industry and the insider's knowledge. So if you have any passions yourself that you want us to talk about, feel free to leave a comment and we'll talk about your passion.
Or hit us up in the DMs if you want to come on the show yourself.
Yeah, if you want to come on the show to talk about your passion, we'd be like more than happy to have you on. So just send us a message. But other than that, we'll see you next time.
Have a good day.
Bye.